just going to find all the little edges of every little thing that we want to highlight. And that kind of involves almost every edge. You got to be careful with this, otherwise you're going to end up highlighting everything. So it needs to be pretty subtle at some point. You'll see me redoing lines and stuff from time to time. Now we can go ahead and say that this stuff down here is like more like leather. These darker spots. We'll probably paint them in better later too. So when they're making this piece, let's say that there's a lip right there. There we go. It's gonna be pretty subtle, but there's probably one right there as well where the metal bends. Kind of like that. And we'll blend this in a little better later. Okay, that's a good start. Let's actually make this part back here a little darker. This edge doesn't need to be so sharp. Okay, so we took our original.
This is crazy.
We applied some basic, super basic, light and dark. Just
Oh.
a little bit of highlights.
Is
a little
camera
low.
broken or is it me?
And then now we can start actually, are we doing some decent little blending on it? And also, depending on where the metal is bent, needs to get more or less shade. Want that to be kind of like a little bit of a lip right there, like a dragon wing. And because this spot right here, if the light's coming from above, coming down, that means the part at the top here is being bent in. It's gonna be a little darker than the part in the bottom. That's good enough. Okay, so now let's start doing the really fun part. And this is making my my squiggles, my interesting little squiggle bits. I don't know if that's an expression I want to be tied to, squiggle bits, but let's just call it what it is. So first, I'm gonna make these light lines a little more prominent. Now that we know exactly where we want them.
That was not a little more. That was like completely just super bright. That's crazy.
Now it's really bright, as you can tell. But here we go. Check us out. If we grab, say, the color right next to our light here, if we grab that color, for example, just kind of start chipping into it. Grab the other color.
That's so cool. How does he do that?
And we're going to grab the color that it's sort of becoming. See how it's turning from this light color to this darker color? We're going to grab that middle bit right there, and we're going to start blending it in. Now the way blending works is you grab one color, and you start pushing it into another color. And you grab that color and start pushing it back. And you grab the middle color that they both create, and you start pushing both sides until it's this nice flow from one color to another. We can lighten up this side over here a bit more, so you have a little more room to push. sort of this little lip. Like that. So you can see how it's already starting to have a more interesting look to it with that little the squiggle bit. I gotta stop saying that. Okay, I'm gonna get in trouble. But when we add this interesting reflection instead of just this boring line would be more realistic. But when you give it a little more flair on the reflection, it gives, I think, the piece maybe a little more life. We sort of just cut into one side and cut into another, and we try to make sure it kind of bends the line a little bit, so that makes it a little more stylized. Now that's not all we have to do, because the way reflections of light work typically on most surfaces, there's going to be a little more spread, a little more diffusion of the light. So the way we do that is we grab the light source, our brush nice and big, and we gently just give a little push, like that. And then we can start blending that in a bit, nice and subtle.
Wait, what did he do? Uh-oh.
Give a little push.
No, go back more.
The way reflections of light work typically on most surfaces, there's going to be a little more spread, a little more diffusion of the light. So the way we do that is we grab the light source, our brush.
Where's my pen?
And we gently just give a little push.
Does he mean grab the lights?
Diffusion of the light. So the way we do that is we grab the light source.
Oh, okay, he just means the reflect. Okay. But first I need to
Push.
make this side of this a lot darker.
And then we can start blending that in a bit, nice and subtle. Now we have the shape we want. We don't have to worry too much about it. We're just gonna make sure it has a nice, even movement from the light color to the dark. There we go. So now you see this really nice diffusion. And so we're going to do this on just these other two parts up here. Three, technically. Let's find a way we want to give this some cuts. Now if we cuff both sides evenly, we're going to end up with a line again, which we don't want. So sometimes it's a good idea to prematurely, when you're adding the lines, instead of just a basic white line going down here to here, to give a little flair of its own.
To try that.
So now when we're cutting into it, it already sort of has
Hmm.
an interesting shape.
What did he do? Liquefy?
Give a little more girth.
I think that's what he did, but you know what? I'm trying it.
And in doing this, we're going to move the line around probably a lot, but you're going to try and find that one special sweet spot to where it looks really cool. Now, in most cases, and this is no exception, less is often more. So you don't want to make a line that's going like, you know. So if it gets too crazy, button it up a little bit. Tighten up the line a bit. Kind of like that a bit. Let's go a little closer in. Straighten out just a bit. also, when I like to do this, I enjoy having the tops and the bottoms of these reflections. These, it extends a lot on both sides, like from here to there, almost like a capital I.
It's really confusing, and that's too much.
Outward away from the light source. And then we'll blend that one final time. That piece will be good. Now if you want, you totally can just have your light source or your reflections on the metal be just sharp and no blending, no softening.
Oh, I don't understand. He's using a very different brush to me.
That's pretty good.
He's got like a really dark bit.
Let's make this line.
How does it? I don't understand. I don't understand. Now we've made. Because I want the light source to be.
Go down here to this one.
Over here.
Same rules apply. Have it bend probably like that. This one was way faster. Less experimentation. Looks pretty good. Looks like an M. Make sure that the fidelity of this bottom lip stays pretty true.
She looks really cool. Look at that. And now I need to just do the same thing on a really small scale.
And now we can just start blending. So the more we do it, less I have to explain it, so the faster we get. I'm just changing the size of my brush from time to time, making sure I've got a nice variation. Makes the process go by a little faster. And a lot of people are like, oh man, what brushes do you use? I use so many different types of brushes. For a lot of my work, I like to try and just use basic, ordinary Photoshop brushes. But I've got some brushes from other artists like 𝍊🆼 and like the aforementioned 𝍊🋼. For example, the one I'm using right now is his DG Main brush.
DG Main, yeah.
Offers for free, lucky you. You go check out 𝍊🋼's videos, which, by the way, are pretty awesome, very informative. Cool dude, doing cool dude stuff. Here we go. Now, last shape. We're gonna have this one do the opposite. Have this one go from here to down here. You can absolutely have all of your reflections behave completely